and I was head of communications in COSATU because I had been a journalist in the United Kingdom and in Zimbabwe. So I was head of communication. So from during the whole CODESA period, I was in COSATU. Now COSATU was part of the negotiations behind the ANC. So the Central Committee of COSATU would sit for days on end, and I was a member of the Central Committee, being a head of the department, to get report back from Cyril Ramaphosa and the negotiating teams, Mac Maharaj, on what was being negotiated in CODESA, and then we made our own input as COSATU to those negotiations, and then they will be taken back to COSATU for negotiations and so on. So yes, I was. Well, first, I think it was a good initiative, and we have to thank F.W. de Klerk for starting the process. Actually, P.W. did a little bit, tried, but F.W. de Klerk was the man behind who started CODESA by unbanning the ANC and releasing political prisoners. You remember his famous February 2nd speech. 1990. So that's when the whole process of negotiation started. So it was a very important initiative to try and overcome the heritage of discrimination, which had started in 1904, as I indicated, with that convention, which excluded the black people from the vote. So CODESA was aiming to introduce universal franchise. So it was a very good good initiative. And the outcome, I think, has proven itself, which is the Constitution of South Africa. South Africa is at peace and has been at peace since 1994. So there's no civil war in South Africa. So CODESA and the Constitution of the Democratic Constitution of South Africa shows that it has had a positive outcome.
But they are among certain black political institutions today huge criticism about the outcome of CODESA.
Yes, but that's
if you listen to them, what will you say?
No, but that's democracy. That's the whole point of democracy. It's not that we should all agree. It's that we have a right to disagree. And they have a right to disagree, those who think that not everything about CODESA was right. CODESA outcome was a very good outcome for South Africa. The Constitution of South Africa is a good constitution for South Africa. People don't understand that a constitution and an economy are two different things. Many people think that CODESA should have addressed the issue of the economy of South Africa. No, CODESA was about the political equality of the people of South Africa, not the economy of South Africa. The economy of South Africa, according to the Constitution, is managed by an elected party that has the majority in parliament. It decides the economic policy. That's how democracy works. So many of the critics of CODESA don't understand what democracy is about. Democracy is about political management of the country and participation of the citizens in choosing a government. It's not about the economic system. The economic system and economic policy is decided by the party that gets elected and becomes the majority party in parliament. It then decides the economic policy. So if you think there's something wrong with the economic policy of South Africa during the last 30 years, you have to address it to the ANC, because they were the ones who had the power, who were elected to change the economy of South Africa if they wanted to change it. So it had nothing to. CODESA gave the pathway to manage how to manage the economy. And then the party that was in power managed the economy to suit itself, essentially. That's how the ANC. So it's not the fault of the Constitution or the fault of CODESA. It's the fault of the ANC. If you are unhappy with the way our economy is being managed. The voters of South Africa gave the ANC the mandate to address the issues, the problems in the economy. Inequality is only one of the problems. There are many other problems.
Many.
But they were given the mandate. But instead of addressing those problems, the ANC essentially decided to focus on the African middle class, on building up the African middle class and improving the welfare of the African middle class, and then leaving the poor, just give them a little bit of charity, the so-called social grants, the so-called social grants, and didn't grow the economy because they diverted profit from the companies, from the private sector, through the tax system to go and build the African middle class in the public sector. So we now have this huge African middle class, which is actually not productive, but taxes the companies that produce the profit. So these companies cannot create jobs because now their profit gets taken away from them by the taxman, who then pay high salaries to this African civil service, the black public service that we have in this country. So, but that was the ANC's decision. It had nothing to do with CODESA, because in every country, the private sector pays higher than the public sector. In South Africa, the public service pays higher than the private sector because of this black middle class that the ANC is building up. So because it's black middle class in the public sector, which is earning these big salaries. This is the wrong policies of the ANC. It's not anything to do with the Constitution.
No.
It's the ANC policy.
No.
Now, this is why the population is now fed up with the wrong policies of the ANC. And the ANC has lost its majority because now the people realize that these are wrong policies for the country. They are not benefiting the country. The redistribution that the ANC has implemented is to the black middle class. The black poor remain poor. If you go to the township down the road, you find the poor are as poor as they were before. If you go to the rural areas, you find the poor people. So there is no redistribution to the blacks. It's the redistribution to the middle class, to the African middle class that supports the